There's things like sugar and mayo and so many other ingredients that you can swap out for healthy alternatives, because the best way to start a healthy lifestyle is doing this, starting with the small steps, starting with taking out some of the unhealthier ingredients and replacing them with healthier alternatives, because it's just an easy step to do. Most of the time you can't even taste the difference. So I'm going to show you a couple of those. All right, so first thing I want to start with is, I go to Costco, so bear with me, I have huge giant portions, is my Greek yogurt. Okay, so my Greek yogurt, I have used this to substitute so many different things. How many of you out there use the mayonnaise on your tuna fish? Use mayonnaise on your chicken salad. My husband's in the background going, hell yeah. Light mayo. He says light mayo. It doesn't matter. The better alternative is Greek yogurt, I'm telling you, and it gives it a little extra tang, like a good, nice flavor to it. So next time you're making your chicken salad or your tuna fish, try a little bit of the Greek yogurt instead. Even using something like avocado to replace your mayonnaise. On a sandwich, instead of using mayo, use mustard. Do different things like that. Greek yogurt is also good for ranch dressing. A lot of you out there like to use the ranch dressing to dip your veggies in. You're doing good with the veggies, but the ranch is killing you. So what you can do is you can buy the ranch seasoning packets, but instead of using the sour cream, use a Greek yogurt instead. When you're baking, a lot of you are baking out there, there's things like milk, there's things like butter and oil. Some of those different things can be replaced with Greek yogurt. I'm telling you, try it out, and it gives it that extra moisture to it too. I know I made a banana bread the other day and I used Greek yogurt instead, and it gives it a little bit more moisture to it. And you can try, coconut oil instead is a good alternative, because that gives it the little sweetness too, so you're substituting the sugar on top of it. That's one of the things I do. And when you're sauteing vegetables, instead of using the whole tablespoon or sprinkle on the pan before you do it, use the olive oil spray, because you're using less of it but you're covering more area. It can also be used to substitute sour cream. So for any of you who like the spinach artichoke dip, the buffalo chicken dip that acts for sour cream or cream cheese or anything like that, you can also use it to substitute with Greek yogurt. Things that call for recipes with heavy cream. Let's say your pasta sauce, those creamy ones like the Alfredo, you can try to use this. Instead of the heavy cream, use Greek yogurt instead. Mac and cheese is another one. I found a recipe today for my daughter's probably like, upstairs, but yes, if I made it, she probably wouldn't even know the difference. Someone was asking how much of it. I went to Chobani, Greek yogurt, of course, and on their website, they have something that's listed. So if you have like sour cream, mayo, cream cheese, things like that, if you use a cup of that, you use a cup of the Greek yogurt. My other alternative, my other one that I love, I told you, Costco big ones, honey. That's right. This can be used instead of things like sugar when you're baking. 3/4 of a cup of honey I use instead of sugar. My coffee drinkers who use a lot of sugar in your coffee, you have to start backing off of it. Instead of the sugar, you know what? Try a little cinnamon one day. Try a little vanilla extract one day. Try the pumpkin spice. I use that around like the fall time. I use a pumpkin spice seasoning, and I put that in there instead too. So it's kind of like a pumpkin spice coffee, but it's better for you than the syrup that they put inside of it. Another last healthy food swap. This is a biggie here. Hang tight with me. I told you. Oatmeal. I go for the big one. It has 2 of these ginormous guys in here. When you have recipes and it calls for breadcrumbs, for example, meatloaf. Meatloaf you always mix in some breadcrumbs with. If you're making chicken cutlets, instead of putting the breadcrumbs and then frying them up, you ground up the oatmeal so it becomes oat flour. You ground it up and you pat it over the chicken cutlets and you bake it, and try that instead. But flavor up those chicken cutlets, so you still flavor it with your cumin, your paprika, a little salt and pepper. Put the flavor into the chicken and then just coat it lightly with the ground oatmeal on top and pop it in the oven. Also for baking too, this is a great alternative. Instead of flour, you use the oat flour. So you grind it up, and you grind up a cup of oats, it comes into a cup of oat flour. And what you do is you use it a little bit more oat flour than you do regular flour. The ratio I think is 3-to-1. That's how I use it. And then you check the consistency. As you're mixing it up, you say, oh, I need a little bit more oat flour, or maybe I need a little bit more liquid with it. Well, what can you do instead of snacking on the chips when you come for a late night snack? Let's put away this ginormous bag of oatmeal. You can take something like a sweet potato, peel it up, slice it really thin, and make sweet potato chips. You can do something like that. Pop them in the oven, spray it with a little olive oil on top of it, maybe even sprinkle a little, sea salt on top, and you can snack on those instead of sitting there with a whole bag of potato chips and regretting it later because you ate the whole bag. If you want to sit with the chips, portion it out. Don't sit with a whole bag. That's the rule in this house, at least. Try and make it a rule in your house. But there's kale chips you can make. You could even buy them already made. Sweet potato chips are better than buying the regular chips. You can do things like veggies are great, with some hummus on the side. I hope these tips were helpful for you guys. Someone did have a question. Jay had a question and he said, what is your guilty pleasure food? So after talking about all this healthy stuff, what unhealthy stuff do I enjoy eating? I enjoy a lot of unhealthy stuff too, but I eat it in moderation and I know how much I eat. Like every night, it's my tradition. I go in my fridge and I have some dark chocolate. That's what I do every night. That's like my guilty pleasure. I also enjoy my wine. Yes, I do. My Friday nights especially, sometimes Saturday. But you think about like when you're eating healthy, you're more conscious. For example, if I want to have that glass of wine on my Friday night for pizza night, I might go with the cauliflower pizza instead of the regular pizza. Or I'm going to skip out on the garlic knots. Definitely if you're going for the pizza, you don't want to do the pizza and the garlic knots at the same time. So it's about making those changes. Oh, someone says, there's wife uses applesauce instead of butter. Yes, that was the other thing too. Yes, applesauce is another great alternative. So much of your results that you see is because of what happens right here in your kitchen. What happens in your kitchen is what really makes the difference. So when people are talking about that they're plateauing, they're not seeing a difference, switch up your nutrition. Go through it, see exactly what you've been eating. Try and keep a food log if you can, because that'll make you more aware and it'll make you think twice before having an extra something, because you got to write it down, and you're going to start feeling a little guilty about that. That's another good thing to do. And drink enough water. I'm telling you, try every day to drink at least half your body weight in ounces. Okay, what are your thoughts on doing that 8-hour eating window and lasting outside of that one window? Oh, okay, so I know what you're probably talking about, the intermittent fasting. It works for so many people. I'm telling you. The thing is you have to stick to it. Once you start to veer off of it and you're like, maybe I'll just sneak out this time, you gotta be consistent. If it's a diet that you can stay consistent with, then I say go for it. Like people are talking about the keto diet all the time. Keto diet, a girlfriend of mine is on the keto diet, lost amazing weight. She feels fantastic, but she's changed her entire lifestyle, her entire way she eats, everything she does, she's changed it. If you're gonna go on the keto diet, if you can't keep eating like that for the rest of your life, then maybe it's not the right thing to do. Find a plan that works for you. Like I said, this is the best place to start. Start swapping out some of those old things that you used to use that are not healthy, and swap them out with some healthier alternatives. And that is the best way to start, because you're really not giving up, because you're putting back in. Not just for you, but for your family. Like start cooking like this for the family. I like the Cheeto diet. Johnny, you like the Cheeto diet, Johnny. You're killing me. Thanks, guys. I hope you enjoy it. There's simple little things that you can change in your diet that can really make a difference in the way you eat. All right? See ya.